Women are the same today as they always have been. I know people think, well, the dating scene is so bad, and they're right. Or divorce is rampant, family court's horrible, and they're right. But it's not a new thing. It's worsening, but it's not new. Men have been suffering from this for a very long time. They've been catering to women. They've been bowing down to them. They've been living happy, happy life, happy wife, whatever. It's not happy. It's an impossible thing. And it puts the man in a state of servitude. And that plays out in the dating too. She expects you to pay for the fancy dinner. She expects you to, get her flowers or whatever. Some of them nowadays are like, if I'm dating you, you need to pay my bills. So it's insane, but it's not new. This woman right here, Ms. Villar, if it would stop being blurry, she was calling it out in 1971. She was trying to show everybody how women were training the men, how women were extracting resources. And one of the biggest ways women extract resources is having your child. Nowadays, we know it as baby trapping, right? Ms. Villar will even go so far to say, you can baby trap a man with children within a marriage. And honestly, you can look to celebrity culture and see that. You can see right away when a woman, gets together with this, rich guy who has all these resources. One of the first things she does is have his baby, because she's locked in now. Now she's taken care of. Think of all of Elon Musk's baby mamas, right? Think about that as an example. It's easier to see if we take it to the extreme. Obviously, he's the richest man in the world, right? And he's got like 10 kids with all these different women. Think about it. If you're one of those women and you have Elon Musk's baby, you're set. You're absolutely set. And women will do that all the way down into like the working class. And it isn't just the man they're extracting resources from through the court system. It's the state. So having a baby in Western society is like doing business, and that's disgusting. But we're gonna read more about how these women do it, and it speaks volumes about our character that we would use children in that way. I thought women were supposed to be so loving and nurturing and love children and be so good with them. That might not be true. To guarantee material security and allow a woman to seem helpless and incapable of earning a living. 2 to 3 children are necessary. Now, nowadays, you only need to have one. It's the bare minimum to baby trap. This minimizes the risk of old age without children or grandchildren who prove their respect and love, their gratitude to her for being such a good mother and grandmother, right? And that happens with single mothers, how the child will, be so grateful because mom had to be mom and dad, and mom sacrificed. And then this is how, if boys are raised that way, they will transfer that to their wife, right? And sympathize with her because, oh, she has to do this, she has to do that. It's like men do. Men have responsibilities all the time. They don't go around saying, I pay my own bills. Like, well, it is a modern era and you are an adult. So why are we supposed to be super proud of you because you pay your own bills? But you hear that all the time on social media. Besides, the children keep each other amused, leaving mother free for superior occupations. Now, this is going to sound like it's 500 years ago. Sewing, for example, or baking. Her maternal care consists of locking the children in a room together and coming in only when one of them gets hurt and screams loud enough to summon her. Yeah, that leaves the children feral. Nowadays, you don't need other children to occupy an only child because you have a tablet or a phone or CoComelon on the television. Isn't that so convenient for the women? It follows that raising and training 2 or more children is much easier than bringing up one. Not anymore. To instill obedience into an only child, the mother has to evolve complex methods to outsmart and persuade it and get it to see reason. It's so funny how she calls a child an it. Or it has to be punished. Since this is a nuisance, a mother usually leaves it to the father. Yeah. Several children, on the other hand, can be trained by emotional blackmail. That's exactly what they do. As they are all dependent on their mother's approval, she has only to show a slight preference for one, and the others will do anything she tells them to. Manipulative. When you love someone, you don't manipulate them. You just don't. But can they love? I don't think so. Every child lives in constant fear that its mother will withdraw her love and give it to someone else. And if this fear does not create affection between siblings, as if women would care, it at least increases their competitiveness and performance. Yeah, she pits them against each other. That is not loving your children, and it's not teaching your children. That's lazy. That's lazy parenting. And it will teach them that the only way you can get ahead is by, someone else being beneath you, tearing someone down. Even later, when the children have long since grown up, they will still vie with each other for their mother's respect. The sons satisfy their ambitions in their work, in their work. The daughters in the amassing of property. Oh my gosh. From time to time, they all gather together and return to mother. Mother, of course, regards this as a sign of their affection and likes to call the interest her children take in each other's progress a sense of family. On such occasions, each renders an accounting of his or her latest acquisitions. So they, the affection and love is performance-based, much how she treats her husband, much how women treat men as utility. And they do that. It's like having children so you can be worshipped and you can be in charge of someone. And that's no good. But all these advantages hold true when there are only 2 or 3 children. A woman with more than 3, usually because of an oversight on her part or religious beliefs on her husband's, that's interesting, will have plenty to occupy her for a few years, even with the freedom to organize her own timetable and without the responsibility of earning their daily bread. A sense of responsibility as far as the children are concerned is, in any case, alien to woman. You can see that nowadays. I can't believe Ms. Villar was seeing that 53 years ago. She had such insight into all of this and into how women think and how women use people. Absolutely. Both as a wife, a girlfriend, and a mother. And I think we leave that out a lot of times in this manosphere space. The increased activity only lasts until the youngest child reaches nursery school age, which I would imagine that's for them probably 4, like a preschool type of a thing. There is, however, one further small advantage in having a large family. The husband is unlikely to leave before all the children are grown up. It's a baby trap. So there was a baby trapping even in marriage. But nowadays, have you ever noticed how when the children start preschool or kindergarten and they're not at home anymore during the day, a lot of times that's where women get to thinking too much, get to talking to their friends, thinking that, well, I think I'm unhappy and it must be the man's fault. And she's not dependent on him. She's not dependent on him staying married to her to extract resources from him. Sounds like back then they had to stay married to extract the resources. Now they get cash and prizes, even if they leave. It's an incentive to leave. And it's celebrated in this culture. It's celebrated. It's all over TikTok. A man who leaves his wife with 4 or more children, even if he cannot stand the sight of her a moment longer, is considered almost a criminal in our society. Yeah, well, in our society, all men are considered criminals until they somehow prove otherwise. It's terrible. However, by the time the children have started school, most of even a prolific woman's work is done. Once again, she has time and money enough to enjoy herself to a certain extent. She will go to the hairdresser, arrange flowers and vases, paint her furniture according to the latest suggestions in women's magazines, and care for her valuable body. I gotta go to yoga. In most Western countries, school lasts all day, and in the few places where it does not, men are busying themselves with their customary vigor to change the system. Yeah. So the state can raise your children. They have established through their research that children who are not exposed to the influence of their mothers for half a day can develop their mental facilities faster and therefore are capable of greater achievements later on. I highly disagree. I am very pro homeschool. Ms. Vilar might be like, yeah, send them to government indoctrination camps, because she's very secular. So I guess school all day makes sense to her, but that's because of her worldview. And it'll just make children secular and detached from their family. The practical application of this discovery, which women do not consider at all humiliating, after all, they lack man's sense of honor and therefore cannot be offended in this way, is therefore doubly in their own interest. And that is how we operate, in our own interest. Now, this video is a little shorter because I had to finish the chapter about children as hostages. It's necessary. So many of you have had your children taken from you, alienated from you, or because of the way everything is, you never had the chance to have children because you don't want to have a family and have it taken from you. It's like, why go forward and get married by the state and then have children, and then, a little later on, boom, she's taking them from you, and you see them 2 weekends a month. And men say to themselves, cost-benefit ratio, it doesn't make any sense to have the children and then lose them. And then for some of you, I just want to say, if you wanted to get married and you're like, no women even look at me, it is awful. And I feel for you. But at the same time, this is a very dangerous time to go forth and sign that marriage contract. And I don't want you to be used as a utility. I don't want that to happen. And I believe, and I think it's already happening, that if men sort of go on strike and embrace the MGTOW monk lifestyle, the market, so to speak, will correct. Because at the end of the day, the women are going to do what the men want. And I can show that. When we all thought that men just wanted a hot chick, like all they want is Pamela Anderson and all they're interested in that, notice how the hoe baggery started, right? And I think it's because we all thought that's what you guys want, because that's what gets attention. That's not what you want in a wife. That's not what you want in the mother of your children. And I think that is where this whole trad movement is coming. Now, a lot of it's fake, a lot of it's grifting, a lot of it is just, I want soft life, right? But if the men are like, I want a real wife who contributes to the family, doesn't send the kids to school and then go and do yoga, get her hair done, get her nails done, have coffee with the girls, and just sort of like keep the house basically clean, you know, order food, maybe even have, even if she's semi good, maybe she'll like make dinner once in a while, but it won't be from scratch. And guess what she's also going to do? She's going to say, you come home from work and you get to rest, but my job is 24 hours. No, it isn't. And his job is way harder. Because, like Bill Burr said, if you can do it in your pajamas, it's not a hard job, right? And it's not. But again, there's nothing new under the sun. And I really hope that some of this can change. I don't think we can turn it around. I think we need a hard reset, but I want at least enough of it to change so we have sort of pockets of society that can get it right. So we can save as many men as possible and maybe even make it possible for men to find a good one here and there. Maybe we'll be able to separate, what is it, the wheat from the chaff or something. And that would be nice because at least it would be better. But I'm painfully optimistic. I just want you guys to not give up on life and remember that you're made in the image of God. Remember that. You're valuable. Don't base your value on what women think of you. Definitely not a good source to get that information. You're valuable. It's the women who are out of order. We're seriously out of order. So make sure you feed your souls. Always protect your peace. You deserve it. You really do. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.